Alright guys, welcome to a game. We are going to take a look at one I played a few days ago. I'm playing the Holy Roman Empire versus the Rus. And in this build, in this game, sorry, I am using something similar to what I recently posted with the HRE Instant 5 relic. This was the day before I released the guide, so I was still playtesting with some of the build order. So, it's a bit of a spoiler, but I only managed to get 4 of the relics, but if you followed exactly what I did in my guide, you definitely would have gotten all 5 in this game. So we are going to open with an extra scout after making our first prelate. Then we're just going to go around killing the deers because obviously we're versing the Rus and we want to deny that bounty gold. And we also want to be collecting extra sheep with it. So, up against the Rus, we kind of have an idea that we know that they're going to be playing a fast castle. I do believe I scout it nonetheless, just to make sure that, just to confirm that he is going the fast castle, so that we don't get a surprise like ram rush or anything like that. So we're going to speed up the opening. I'm still going to talk through this a little bit. So we got 5 on food here. We'll send our next one to gold, and we'll chuck all the new vills back onto food here, luring back the wolves, not only to deny the Rus the extra gold and bounty, but to also kind of clear the way for our prelates when we go out to get the relics. So, scouting pattern here is I'd say a little bit suboptimal. It's not an end of the world. The reason kind of why we've gone backwards instead of forwards at the beginning is to find our 2 starting deer patches, which we've managed to do here, both of them being up at the top corner here. Now, one thing we know is that he's going to start pumping out horse archers quite early in age 3. So we need to kind of make the counter, set up our base to kind of deal with that. And I'll kind of talk through my thought process as the game progresses here. So we started aging with our gold villagers and we're sending a bunch to wood here, so that we can get that stable up as soon as we can in age 2. Now our objective with these horsemen that we're going to make is to basically harass the scouts while they're trying to pick up deers and whatnot. Considering he is playing the Rus, we can't actually like harass any gold mines or anything, and his base is obviously going to be quite safe from any potential raids from horsemen, so we just want to make sure that they're alive, so that we can protect our prelates once we go out onto the map. So we've scattered all 5 spots for the relics, so we know where we need to be going with our prelates once we go up to castle age. Dropping down a stable now. So he's building a tower, so we really can't do anything with our horsemen here. There's really not much point in sending it into his base. And finding more sheep and killing off wolves. First horseman out. And he's just going to go across the map, straight towards these deer and harass the scouts here. So I believe we only make 2 or 3 horsemen here, just because it's not worth it investing anymore. The only thing we want to kind of do here with these horsemen is protect our prelates. So if you're investing too many into that, beyond that point, it's a bit of a waste. So creating prelates now. If I had kind of followed the steps of my previous build order, we would actually have been able to do this 1 vill earlier, which means we could have actually sent the prelate all the way across here and picked up this relic as well. But we're going out to the relics here. This is probably the second furthest away, and this one as well. So we're aging with 12 villagers here to get up as soon as possible. We have a bit of excess food as well, so we don't need to worry about not being able to train vills. So we just have 2 horsemen at this stage. Our prelates are out on the map, and we're gonna keep. We're gonna use the horsemen to fend off this wolf here, and then we're gonna bring them back to the middle so that they can basically head to any points of the map where our prelates will need help. This one's fine because it's close to the map. There's no way that the scout's going to stop him from getting it. But we're just rotating through all of our prelates, and we've instantly picked up 4. Could have been 5. We're putting in our base. So the Rus did age up a little bit later than what you would normally expect. You would expect around an 8:30 age up. But nonetheless, he wouldn't have been able to stop these prelates picking up the relics anyway. He would have had to train the cav archers, make his own monk, and by then we would have all brought them all back anyway. So now that we've run out of sheep, because we are versing the Rus, we're not actually going to go out onto the hunts or anything like that. We actually were trying to sneak to a boar here, but that was scouted, so we had to pull those back, and we're going to have to go onto berries and build farms a little bit quicker here. So we're starting to produce lancers here. One thing that I would recommend, instead of dropping this second stable like I did here, I would have just... ideally, I would have done a market first, because as you can see, we're already starting to rack up way excess of gold here. We also need to be chopping a fair bit of wood, because we're going to need to start transitioning to farms quite early on here. So we're training lancers, now we're getting our market down, and as soon as we get this market down, we're actually just going to trade a bunch of gold here. Not having deers or boars is a little bit unfortunate against the Rus, just because we are getting a slow source of food and we're not able to pump out lancers fast enough. But we've traded gold for food and wood here, dropping down more stables and a second monastery so we can put that extra relic in there. To be honest, we could have just put the prelate inside the tower here. Now, one thing that I find quite important to do against someone like the Rus is put up early towers. So we've got like 50% on wood here. We also traded some wood, and we're getting out towers. Now I'm taking this engagement, it doesn't look too favourable, but the objective is to push him out until we can kind of finally get in our springald emplacements on our towers and also put up some more towers here. So we're just buying time. It's not the worst trade in the world, but it's also not the best. So that's the kind of thought process behind that. I wonder if we do get this outpost up. It doesn't look like we will. Make sure you're not putting like all of your guys on berries at this stage of the game, and not like setting up your farm eco. It's hugely important to start setting up your farm eco early. And with the HRE, it's obviously not too bad having farms set up this early, because you've got the Archon Chapel and you're going to be gathering from the farms at a decent rate. As you can see here, this tower is basically preventing these little pesky raids here, and we're kind of just taking little trades when we're forced to. We don't want to be going out on the map at this stage of the game, because he is going to beat us in a fight. So we want to utilize having the towers and whatnot to kind of help our knights in these fights. So we've denied relics from Rus as well, which is usually a huge part of their game plan. Like, as you can see, he's not got the passive gold income to kind of spam all these upgrades as soon as possible. He's only got +1 attack, and he only just got the gold for +1 defense. Sorry, the second tier of attack. So having these 4 relics is pretty huge at this stage. So at this stage, I know he's going to be going for the sacred sites and potentially win through that way. Honestly, I think the longer this game goes out, the better position we're in. With the exception of if he gets to Imperial quite safely without taking any damage. Because Rus are extremely strong in Imperial. But at this stage, we're just spamming knights, and we will soon look to add in siege. The reason we don't have siege quite yet is just because we're setting up our farm eco, so we need to be spending wood on that. But it is something on my mind at this stage of the game that I will be working towards. It's a little bit... considering I have a scholar here, there's no reason for me not to put another lumber camp down here. If I didn't have this extra scholar here, then it would be fine, because they would be walking into the radius of the influence from the Archon Chapel. And that would make up for the walking time, the 40% extra gather speed. But I ended up putting one down there. I'm realizing that I cannot fight at this stage of the game. I need to pull back. So I think one mistake from the Rus player in this game as well is that he didn't make enough scouts to tank the damage coming out from the Lancers. So me being able to charge onto his horse archers means that I can trade a lot more effectively here. So now he feels the pressure in getting some damage done to my eco, but this is coming at the cost of him fighting underneath Springold Towers. I recommend getting Springold Towers against someone like the Rus because they are going to try and dive your eco with these horse archers. So he's continuing to kind of put pressure on my base here, but not the end of the world. We're putting up some more towers, trading our gold for stone here, and getting more Springold emplacements. So now that we realize we kind of can't fight these with just our Lancer units here, we're actually added in the Siege Workshop now. We have a lot of our farm eco set up, so we can start investing that wood into those units. Also, at this stage of the game, you should consider kind of getting your eco upgrades, and make sure you're getting your blacksmith upgrades as well with all the excess gold that you have in. A bit of mistake from him. He's actually accidentally auto-tasked onto the berries rather than the boar. So his passive gold at this stage of the game is really not that great, which is one of the kind of key reasons that this build is so crazy, is the amount of passive gold that I can get. Obviously the horse archers are really good as well, but denying that is quite huge here. We've actually got one sacred site ourselves, we snuck that one in, and he only has one. So at the moment you can tell the difference right here. We have 1100 passive gold coming in, he has 220. We'll speed up a little bit here. So we're getting our tier 2 food upgrade, we have wheelbarrow, we have wood chopping upgrades, and we're getting wood chopping upgrades now. I recommend getting this earlier. Obviously not every game is perfect, I'm not like top 10 player or anything like that, so I have kind of accidentally delayed my eco upgrades a little bit too long. And once we get this wall up, we could actually look at getting these deers rather than making new farms. Honestly, adding these walls probably would have been a bit nicer earlier as well. So we're actually quite heavily outmassed at this stage of the game, but it's okay. We're mass producing Lancers now. We have the defensive infrastructure in place, so we can't just freely run around and kill our eco. As long as we can win the siege war here, we're pretty safe in winning the fights. So he has a mangonel. Really not going to be that useful against knights compared to what my mangonel will do to his horse archers. But I think he was just using that for more the siege factor here. This tower's not, I believe, not in, yeah, it's not in the radius of the auto repair, so I'm just repairing at the bill here. Considering as a Springold emplacement, it's really nice to keep that alive because you invested stone and extra gold into that. Right here, we're diving the mangonel because we know once we take out that mangonel, we're safe to just sit back and let our mangonels do all the work here. He's doing a nice job of dodging here, but at the end of the day, he can't really do anything right now. He needs scouts to snipe these, or he needs Springolds of his own, which he's actually adding in right now. Springold coming out, taking the first shot, we're pulling these back. And then our Lancers get on top of the horse archers because they're trying to defend that Springold. And then we pull back once the mangonels come forward. Just because we don't really want to be taking unnecessary damage with these Lancers. We'd much prefer just to sit back and let the mangonels do all the work. But he does a nice job here, takes out the first mangonel, which allows him to kind of come forward with his cav archers and kill that mangonel. But this is another kind of mistake here. By him actually going and getting the mangonel, it allows my Lancers to get on top of his horse archers. And when Lancers connect with these horse archers, they're going to melt them pretty fast. And now he's also trapped inside my wall. I actually come out here for a cheeky wall to try and kind of narrow the path that he can escape from, to ensure that we're cleaning up all these horse archers here. I think at this stage was a really big turning point here. He lost like all of his mass here, and now we can kind of go out onto the map. deny these sacred sites and kind of put our own pressure on here. Let's take a look at his eco ups compared to ours. So he doesn't have any food upgrades. Wood upgrades, he has nothing as well. Whereas we have tier 2 of food. Oh, I cancelled that? Oh, I was upgrading that before, that's weird. Well, I should have more wood chopping as well. But our eco is just like way ahead at this stage. Like, we're ahead in food, we're ahead in wood, and we're also far ahead in gold. And that's purely from relics. So now we're coming out forward. We're going to slowly creep our way forward. We're going to secure map control so we can't come back and take these sacred sites. That's one thing as well. Don't rush your attack here. At this stage of the game, I realize that I'm ahead in eco. And we're pretty even, or maybe I'm a little bit ahead in military mass as well. So I don't want to just like dive in right now and have the risk of losing all my units. So I want to take it slow, secure map. I've walled up all the most of the map here, leaving this little choke if he wants to come through here. And now we're just gonna kind of just deny this sacred site, deny that victory condition for him. So at this stage we're just going Lancers and Siege, but now we are going to swap into Barracks here. Now this is fine. This is not the end of the world, him getting in here. We have Springold Towers, we have reinforcement units coming in, we have Mangonels, and he's just going to lose all these guys for maybe a couple Vil kills, which I'm fine with. That's kind of the reason I didn't wall off completely as well. Is just, like, I actually wasn't concerned with him coming into my base. Now he's losing a lot more Vils than I am. He's also losing more units for free than I am. So this is really good for me. As soon as I saw him going into my base, I knew my Springold Towers could kind of handle that, and the reinforcement units that I was producing. So I just decided to counterattack and kind of do as much damage to his eco as I want. I was really hoping that his wood Vils were still here, because I could have got quite a significant amount of Vils here. Fast forward a little bit here. I think I pulled back those. Where are they? I swear. Oh, there they are. Taking down more horse archers here, and at this stage I actually ignore the horse archers here and I just kill as many builds as I can. I know I have the economic lead. I know I'm not at any real risk of him making a counterattack after this, so I just want to damage his eco as much as possible. So now if we take a look at the Vils, I'm at 64, he's at 52, so he's significantly behind in Vils. He's also significantly behind in passive gold income. So I'm just like a mile ahead at this stage. I feel like there's not a whole lot I could do here to make myself lose. His food eco is quite exposed. So we're just going to remass. We're now dropping like 10 Raxes here, probably a little bit less, but so we're going to go look and kind of end the game at this stage. Fast forward a little bit, making some men-at-arms, getting all my upgrades as well. This is a little bit of a mistake here, I didn't see this coming, and then I lose some Mangonels for free. But, I mean, I end up coming in and cleaning up most of his army here. Still, probably not a great trade for me, but I wasn't too concerned. So now he's looking to add pikes, because, I mean, I've just been on Lancers the whole time, so he's looking to mass pikes, but little does he know that we are massing a shitload of infantry on the back of this. And now I'm just diving his eco. I didn't feel like I needed to worry too much about the whole micro here. I was focusing on a few other things as well, but now the goal is just to slowly make him bleed until his eco is just like terrible. So I'm just diving all these villages. Losing units probably a little bit inefficiently, but at this stage, like, it's okay to do that because you just know you're ahead. He's not gathering any food at this stage either. You can see his income per minute is just like really bad. He does have a few villas snuck out here. I ended up coming out here, but he pulled these away just in time, I think. Oh, I didn't actually see this. Man, that's unlucky. Could have cleaned up a bunch of vills there. And we just mass here and take one final push, and then he'll tap out here. He's scurrying around all the map. He's just way behind in eco, way behind in military as well. I don't know why he's building rams. That was very strange. But yeah, this is it. And that's game. So hopefully you found this helpful. Hopefully it gives you some insights into my thought process in this particular matchup. There are going to be other situations where you kind of take a different approach. For example, I played a recent game against China and he just walled up and boomed. And so what I did, I took the sacred sites and then I went fast Imperial, just got a way bigger eco and then a way bigger mass as well, and defended the sacred sites and won. So you just need to kind of adjust based on the civilization you're versing and also based on the information you're getting when you're scouting. Thanks guys, hopefully you enjoyed this and I'll catch you in the next video.